And good morning and welcome back to the morning show. I'm Marshall Shore.
And I'm Melissa Farley. Thanks for joining us at the Arizona Center. And as promised, we have a guest here in studio with us.
We do indeed.
We do. She's right here next to me. This is this is Kimberly. And Kimberly, you are the country's first certified metaphysical real estate agent. What does that mean? Tell me more about that.
Yes. See, your foundation is much more than just a transaction. This is where you feed your children. This is where you pray over your spouse. This is where you create and change the trajectory of your life. And the reason I got into real estate is exactly because of that. I needed to change the trajectory of myself and my family's life. And it emerged into this beautiful way that I do real estate.
So when people decide to work with you over a different like a regular quote unquote real estate agent, what is that experience like? How is it different than working with someone who has a metaphysical background versus someone who doesn't?
I help families and individuals who have been through hardships start a new chapter. You see, a little over 13 years ago, my 13-year-old son on a random Tuesday morning walked upstairs and shot himself, dying in my arms before the ambulance could arrive, and the following aftermath almost completely destroyed our family unit. And 2 years later, I'm sitting there in the shitty rental, sorry if that's an offensive word, drinking that same glass of wine, the fourth, fifth one. And I decided to take assessment, and I looked at my twins who were happy and thriving. I looked at my older boy who was doing better than me, making it, but it was when I looked at my husband, who was looking at me like I was going to break. I knew I had to change the trajectory of my family's life. And I needed to get into a home. And I was able to get an extenuating circumstance pre-approval, but I couldn't find an agent to help me. I couldn't find an agent to help me because it had never been done. An extenuating circumstance loan with a bankruptcy and a short sale had never been done in the state of Arizona, so I took our change jar and our tax return money. And I got through real estate school in 18 days, and 45 days later, I closed on that home.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But giving the keys to my husband, giving him his feet again, made me realize that I have to do this for other people. It began that healing journey, and I began getting my certifications in metaphysics, spiritual psychology, getting answers to the soul. And since that time, I have helped over 400 families and given back over $400,000 of my own commission to help them do that. That's the difference. Because I know what it feels like, and I know how to pull you out of that dark place and start a new trajectory.
It's huge.
Well, and I think also there's an element of bringing something like this, which is so vital to a family, in such a dark time. Even talking about it can be perceived as almost shameful.
Yes.
So just the fact that they can have that conversation and know that you're not going to look at them in a different light.
Correct.
That with a completely different understanding of what they're going through.
Correct.
And how they can tell their story in a new place, a better story.
Yes, because humanity's greatest philanthropic movements have been brought from her deepest sorrows. And how do we become the testimony? We become the story. And the story can't be successful until you are successful. That was the other part to my story, and why I have published now 3 books.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about, we've got 2 here, Tenacious Angels and Overcome.
So the first one is Overcome, Memoirs of a Suicide. This was the original story I wanted to tell about my son, what happened that day. 6'1", could pitch 80 miles an hour, most popular kid in school. What happened that day? That took me to the soul. But again, I couldn't tell my story until I'd reached a point of success. And once I did, I launched this in 2020. COVID hit. So I began my metaphysical journey to understand truly what happens to us when we get in those dark moments. And that became my second book, which I launched last year, Tenacious Angels. Now this one's trippy, man. This one takes you down a metaphysical path, but also taps into your imagination, because the key to eternal life is curiosity about the next 5 minutes. And then in the last 2 years, and I just launched this one, it's here, hold it up. Standing in the Eye of the Storm. This is an ebook right now. This is the true story of how a community of Black women, and it's important to say that, breathed life back into me. And this one I just launched a month ago because it is community that we need. We can't do this on our own.
Yeah.
We have to come together.
I'm very excited to read these. And it's interesting, I'm listening to you talk and I'm thinking about how this probably is such a unique experience because a lot of times when people are buying homes, right, it's, oh, we just need a bigger house. And
yes.
Oh, husband got a new job and we need to relocate. You don't think about the times where you need a new home because of something traumatic that has happened.
And it's not just that, right? I can work, let's say someone's looking to buy a $10 million home.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have money doesn't mean you don't have things that are deep within that you need to work through and really discover, why are you picking this foundation? Maybe it needs to be this one because I match the energy. Everything is energy, and energy is everything. It's not just, oh, I want that one. Does that one want you?
Yeah.
Same concept.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
different.
So when you take them to a space to look at it and kind of talk about this energy work, can you kind of walk me through what that process would be like? Like what is that? I don't even know what to expect, I guess.
So there's two different processes. Let's say you're listing your house. We will go through from room to room so I can feel each room, and I'll start making notes and I'll start talking to them because their energy is everywhere and they're trying to pass that on to someone new. I have to pull all that energy back out and redress it like you're dressing the house new for someone else. And then when you're bringing a family in, if I'm bringing you, let's say, into this space, how does this space feel to you? Could you have
That's a
a
complicated
studio?
question right
Could
now.
you have a studio here type
Yeah,
of thing, right?
yeah.
But like even right now, I can feel that I wish there was like a fireplace for you,
Yeah.
some more mugs,
Yeah.
kind of to express more of your nurturing yet fun self, because you got a little Frangelica in that hot chocolate. And for you, my fun friend, there's an MTV you got to have some sort of screen, or you got to have that electric and the neon, and
Well, for me, it was like when we were looking at houses, I think the house found us. It was kind of like we were looking for very much a mid-50s ranch, not completely gutted or anything else but as original as possible. And what we found was this woman who had basically raised her family, and she had apologized that she didn't have any money to ever fix it up. And we're like, well, that's what we wanted because we're going to keep it like this.
Right.
To the point where, as we're going through things, it's like she left a bunch of pots. So we called her, and her daughter came by and was so thrilled to see that we weren't drastically changing, knocking down walls.
Yes.
She's like, her mom would really appreciate that.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, we bought this house because of the energy that was here.
Right.
That it was such a great space.
Yes.
To move into, because you could feel all that love that was already in that house.
Right. And for some people, that's exactly what they need. And you needed that nostalgia. You needed that already set and seeded into that foundation, what it is you wanted for your life. But other people need that completely cleared out. That's the other thing I do. I don't sage, and I push energy of positive light through the house, which automatically pushes out the dark, So exactly, the house will call to you. You just have to make sure you're got the right agent who can help you identify that.
And so it took it took us several agents to
Yes.
find one that actually
Yep.
kind of got what we were trying to look for and was willing to just kind of like let us go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I think it's funny hearing you talk about that because it's not quite the same thing, but my husband and I, when we travel in Europe, using Airbnb is a little bit different. Like, because a lot of Airbnbs here, they're just totally Airbnb spaces. You can tell nobody has lived there, and it just is what it is. But like when we were in Italy in the Cinque Terre, we stayed at this home that the woman who was Airbnb-ing it was born in that building, and her mother was born in that building, and you had this familial history, and it was just a really cool place to get absorbed in. So I think about experiences like that,
Yes.
but when I bought a home, the only time I bought a home, we built it from the ground up, and I thought that was really cool for me because I'm a sponge, like
Yes.
energetically. So being able to have something that I just sort of created that felt so clean and good to me, you know, so
Because you are the heart of the home.
yeah.
And it was important for you to, again, seed into the foundation your heart.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll take crystals and put them before the drywall's up. We'll put it into the, the behind the drywall, into the ceiling, into the rafters. We'll draw initials. Everyone is a little different in how they want to mark, but if it's familiar, and that's another thing, if you go into an old building and you're like, wow, I feel like I've been here before, you want to go down that route, well, you have.
Yeah.
Your soul has.
Yeah.
Your soul has its favorite things.
Yeah.
Your soul knows what it needs.
Love that. Well, Kimberly, how can people find you, either to get your books or to work with you? How do people connect with you?
So the easiest way is KimT360.com. That'll take you to all of my information and everything I do. You can also call me 602-769-1476. And before we go, holidays coming up. I'm 52 years old. I'm in great shape, and one of the reasons why is the supplements I use. This tea, which I brought you each one, will make a whole pitcher,
right.
drink 1 glass every single night, and it's going to cleanse you out.
This makes a whole pitcher?
This makes a whole pitcher.
Wow.
Lasts a week.
Okay.
And it's something I've been drinking every single night. It's helped me with menopause, bloat. There's other supplements, but this is the key
Okay.
for me.
All right.
So those are my tips.
Well, Merry Christmas to us with
Yes.
this new tea.
Indeed,
All right.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We are so thrilled to have Kimberly here. We're going to be taking a quick break, and we'll be right back after this with some things to do, some things to celebrate.
Indeed.
A whole lot of good stuff back here on The Morning Show.